Okay, here we go. Beautiful big mess. A beautiful mess. Look, things start to melt again. Mother Nature did us yesterday a last wipe out when it's about the snow thing. Today it's Sunday. Normally I'm doing my Sunday slaughter day, but already I did this week 3 of those, which means 10 plus kilometers plus multiple calisthenics spots. But anyway, who gives a rat's ass? The thing is, now it's Sunday, and yesterday I didn't even notice in the evening somebody reminded me of the fact that it's Saturday. See, for me, days, they are just labels. You know, for a lot of normal people, days are really like, whoo, now it's weekend, now I have to go totally nuts. The thing is, if you're one of those people, you know, invest a little bit time in the things that I discuss, implement 15 minutes per day in building something that you own, online audiences or whatever. The thing is, we're not getting into this. Today I had a little bit, although this morning, a talk, because we're doing the Google My Business with the Google merge thing, but we have with one business project a little bit a delay, because the boats are not getting into the water yet, because the water is a little bit too wild, which delays of verification. Totally irrelevant information, I know, but I'm going somewhere with this. I talked with the people, and they're very nice people. I know them for a long time, and if you're watching this, never a disrespect, but I just want to tell you something about integrity. The thing is, and honesty, and also always stick to the truth, which is not always the nicest thing to do in many situations. Cost me many relationships, but who gives a rat's ass? Because people who cannot handle the truth, they should be anyway out of my way. But okay, so when it's about this this little business venture, or little, it's actually pretty big, but anyway, besides that, they said, yeah, what if you make up a little bit an excuse which would have a 50% truth in it, but I don't like it. I said, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna solve it because I need to ask for a little bit delay for the business verification, because it requires, let's say, for example, starting up one of the boats. So, but I said, I'm not getting into this because everything is based upon 100% ruthless, straightforward, because people like me, I couldn't sleep, and for a lot of normal people, they would say, yeah, a little tiny lie doesn't matter. The thing is, what I always say, it starts with one little tiny lie, it stacks up with another one. Why not another one? Why not another one? And at one point you drown in your own lies. And people, when you enter a group of people, we all know, or I all know, but I know from the old days, there was always one or two guys that walk into the group, and when they walk away, then all the people make a little bit fun of them, because, you know, they stacked up so many lies that they cannot even track them. And you know, there's also one person that actually stacked up multiple lies over 10 years. But the thing is, people really underestimate that I'm doing this for a living for a long time, so I got a memory like an elephant. The thing is that to brag, no, I am simply obsessed with communication, but also building trustworthy relationships that are actually constantly value packed, but also based upon ruthless reality. And I'm doing this in all assets or facets of my life. When a woman asks me, okay, there was one girl actually asked me, but she was with her boyfriend, so I'm a little bit more easy. But when I take a woman out, or I would sit with her, and not always for a date, and just normal, or I also have normal conversations, just to let you know. The thing is, when they ask me, am I a little bit too fat? Yes, you could use a little bit of exercise. I'm not gonna lie. And also when it's about, and when I had longer relationships, and then they ask me, you know, is this too slutty? I always say, dress as slutty as you want, because you have to keep expressing yourself. Because if I would say, no, you should not do this, because otherwise other men would stare, and by the way, I do love it when men actually stare at the women that I'm walking with. So, but that's another thing. I simply am like that. But the thing is, always ruthlessly straightforward. I don't dance around the bush, because that will bite you in the ass. And of course, when you live a very normal, simple life, you can lie your ass off. You're not going down or you're not going up. I think even if you would live a very simple life in the middle of nowhere, and you would fabricate all the kind of stuff together, your whole life is one big, you know, blanket of lies, I think you're gonna be very restless, and it ripple effects into a lot of sub facets of your life. That's what I believe in. You can see it, you know, like I always say, and I mentioned this multiple times, people who don't live an authentic life because they have to act in specific ways, because you know, we all know those people who dance around the bush wearing suits, licking ass for a living, and the thing is, in the meantime, the rest is going to hell. We all know how that looks like, and the thing is, that is gonna bite those people sooner or later also in the ass. No matter what they're gonna say now, with a lease car, big mortgage on their home, and a woman that is actually constantly distracted by her phone because she doesn't get the attention that she actually wants. The thing is, and this is another point, I also believe that if you now may be watching and you consider your life, let's say you're a young person and you think your upbringing is pretty harsh and everything, I think you should embrace that, because that is the best learning period of your life that will prepare you for an in-depth experience of life. Everybody who lived a normal life, when they sit with mommy and daddy goo goo gaga on their knees and everything is great, you're the greatest person on the planet, nobody is better than you, well, trust me, your life will be very on the surface, you know, no depth. Trust me, I see, you know, I'm 47 now, and from a lot of people that I know that live pretty comfortable lives, especially I actually mentioned a few minutes ago the guy who spread his lies over, let's say, a period of at least 10 years, and I just stack him. I also have more than enough patience to let people show their real character. See, and now I'm at 47, a little bit more advanced. I pull out the real person within 60 minutes, even less. It's already, you know, when they walk, especially with new people, it's very easy. Especially the level of and this is another thing, because people talk a lot about handshakes, you know, a firm handshake. I don't believe in this. It's more or less the height, and I'm not gonna show it now because I'm holding coffee and this and that, but there are multiple people that I encountered also this week. They held their hands very high, their palm towards me, so very close. Me, I always put my hand on a lower level. I also always reach with my palm open. So the thing is, and it's not to look like a servant, no, it's more or less to open a conversation and not straight away, you know, play by the rules, you know, have to have a firm handshake. Well, trust me, I signed contracts in the past with people who had a firm handshake, and those people in general with a big smile, firm handshake, Those are the wolves. Anyway, I'm not talking about all the bad things in life, it's just reality. And I started talking about that some people said maybe you can make up some for the Google My Business listing thing. I'm not gonna make up anything. Always straightforward. Always straightforward, no matter what. Will cost you a lot of relationships. But what I think, you keep your life clean. Just be straightforward, ruthless. Just to keep your life clean and your peace. Keep the peace. And of course, again, you know, if you're a normal 9-to-5 person, you don't need to keep your life clean. But if you go outside the normality, adversities are always at play. Opportunities are raining down, and the majority of those opportunities are all, you know, jibber jabber, mostly. So you need to have your filters in a row. And not only this, you have to be careful. I'm actually thinking about a situation where I trusted people on the skills that they said they had. There's a danger in that, especially also when you are again going outside the normality, right? People say that they have skills, people say that they have dedication, but you have to see, and this is what I always look at. So when a guy comes to me and he takes his girlfriend with me, or with him, and he turns into one goosey moosey, or he obeys and everything, I'm not gonna do business with him, because he's not in control. He's just one goosey moosey pile of meat for me. And it sounds very disrespectful, but trust me, when you do it multiple times with people who walking away the moment it gets very bad, or start lying their ass off to save their own ass, or whatever. There are so many situations I could go on for ages, but you know, you have to be careful. You don't want to clean up other people, their problems, and if that stacks up enough, you will lose a lot of years of your life, which I did. I lost a lot of years cleaning up people, their mess. They only, you know, try to benefit from the fruits, and when things go bananas, you're the one who's the garbage man. And still, at this point, I'm also still cleaning up from somebody who also said that he was very skilled in what we went into, and it's still going on. It's already going on for multiple years, but anyway, not complaining. I'm just warning people, open your eyes. And that's why, you know, just to say, all kind of people, the thing is I think if you gonna be ruthlessly, constantly, I don't know, my words is also, I don't know. Anyway, just keep your circle clean. Keep it clean. Will save you a lot of freaking headache. You need to keep the peace. So in my case, I need to be pretty much every day very creative, and if I would be in a state of non-stop war in my mind, I couldn't perform. That's why also one of the reasons that I don't want to clean up anybody's bullshit anymore. I'm very clear about this. It's been already more than 2-3 years that nothing actually popped up that I have to clean other people their bullshit, and I like that. Like I said, I'm still cleaning up a little bit, but that is not from the last 2-3 years, and I like it like this. But it's also more because I set the boundaries. I don't let everybody enter my life. Also definitely not mentally and emotionally dictate any kind of actions of mine. I just stick to my regime, the calisthenics regime, build the work structures, which I just give away, and that's it. And at the moment here in Sofia, Bulgaria, and I want to settle over here, so that is actually my goal for here in Bulgaria. Obviously maybe next year or the year after, maybe this year. No, I totally have no how do you say it? And my words today are totally weird. Maybe also yesterday I spoke non-stop. Sometimes I am empty, and I did not do my calisthenics regime yet, so maybe that's why also I need to unload my my brain fog and my day start. Oh yeah, yesterday's comment, very weird. So he commented on one, no disrespect, but you know, he commented on one video where I said, you know, I'm performing 18 hours per day. So I get up at 5:15 and I go around 11 to bed, which means 5 or 6 hours of sleep. The thing is, and then that guy said in the comment, so I have to go to bed at 8, and then no. Totally don't understand what he meant with this, but I think that it misses a little bit context. I think he looks at those people. There's one actor, right? He gets up at 3, but then he sleeps at 8, which I totally also don't understand. Still 7 hours of sleep. He could better go to bed at 11 and get up at 6. That is my opinion. But you know, this comment, yeah, you know, when I do read comments, but I think are so vague, you know, that I have to guess, and then it takes too much mind real estate. But still it messes around with me, because I'm always interested what people, you know, what is their, how are they thinking about stuff. And so this comment, I also don't know what to answer sometimes on people, their comments. Also on Instagram, sometimes I really don't know. And as you can see, it still messes with my head sometimes. Not that I'm emotional attached, I'm just obsessively, I think, interested in human behavior. So that is the real reason. I'm not emotional attached to people, their comments. And the more serious people, they DM. And then there are also levels to the game, right? So when people DM me, hey bro, how are you doing? I skip those outreaches. You know, people get straight away to the point, and if you watch my stuff, I think the majority of my content is pretty straightforward, without the BS. Oh yeah, one other thing, and this is because I'm also watching those commercials, you know, the advertisements. And one other thing, because I'm puzzling around, let's say, with my own content, but I would never change my integrity to gain more views, like the pranking things. But those famous people, and they use way much more sophisticated strategies. But this one, he's a multi-millionaire, motivational speaker. I think he belongs in that kind of category. But the thing is, his ad starts with this: fear. So straight away addresses something what, let's say, 99% of the people do have, and that's why they don't act: fear. And I think, yeah, wow, do you really need to do it like this? And then of course, and then it's like, every person needs love, and then he kisses his overweighted woman. But the thing is, that is all nice, And the majority of people, I think, they like to be treated like a soft sheep, with all the respect. And I think that's why it's also working with a lot of people. You know, a lot of actors, then they talk about how sad and alcohol and drugs and blah blah blah, all that bullshit. You know, they use always a human characteristic, or perhaps every human being goes, let's say, more than 70%. Okay, maybe 50, I don't know the exact statistics. But let's say 60% of people, you know, used drugs in their life, some a little bit more than the other. And then you got somebody in an authority position, like an actor or a multi-millionaire guy, and then they always try to trigger something. Have been mentioning constantly, yeah, I was also very drug addicted and blah blah blah. And also this guy, this motivational guy, also constantly talks about abusive family, blah blah blah. But nobody asks how many years, how many decades. Maybe only for a couple of times it happens. You know, I think a lot of people also very quickly, when they feel understood, you know, like oh yeah, he gets me because he was also drug addicted, or he gets me because he talks about my fear that I have, my fear of failure. I think he understands me. Let's see what he has to say, and then buy his dumbass course. But the thing is, I think that is definitely losing your whole level of integrity as a human being. And then being on a stage, you know, kissing your woman over there. No, great. The thing is, if you really narrow down what is real in life, so what is real? Love is just a chemical thing that happens in your brain, and in general it's just a temporary thing which fades away and it turns into attachment. And the thing is, of course, you can get along together maybe for a longer time. I had longer relationships, so I can speak about this. The longest one that I had was, I think, 8 or 9 years. The thing is, at one point, yeah, you become buddies. And hey friend, let's yeah, no, yeah, don't get in this kind of talk. But so what I want to say with this, I don't think that life is as those people try to present it to you. And get rid of your fears. You will never get rid of your fears if you're in the growing business. You will never get over that. Nothing will end. Nothing will end. When it's also about people who say, yeah, I was very alcohol and drug addicted. I believe this is simply what humans do. It's part of some people know how to put it in boundaries and some not. Simply part of living. Drugs, alcohol, sex, relationships, dead people, alive people, it's all part of life. And some are a little bit more careful, because yeah, what somebody else might say about when I fill up my nose. Anyway, I did it for over a decade, boatloads. I'm not ashamed of anything. But the thing is, I'm not using it as some kind of way to connect with people, and that everything was so bad that I stayed awake for 4 or 5 days, and then I felt totally paranoid. Yeah, so what? So my own mistake. Yeah, that's life. It's simply part of life. It was a period in my life, and it's done deal. The same with the drinking. Yeah, some people then say I was an alcoholic. No, you just drank a little bit too much. Everything also still always needs to have labels, unnecessary labels. So you label yourself as an alcoholic, and yes, there are people who do, you know, over half a liter of vodka every single day. Yesterday I also did, I think, a good amount of vodka just to do my talks and just keep on going, you know. But it's not that I'm doing this every day. And what is an alcoholic? And all of a sudden everything needs a label. An alcoholic who actually also trains and works and whatever, is that then only an alcoholic? I don't believe in this. If people want to fill up the noses once in a while, let them be. The thing is, when it's about drugs, There's one danger about it, in my opinion, and in my personal experience. You connect very quickly with people simply because of the level of energy, right? And there's a little bit of danger, especially when you don't want to be in this 9 to 5 rat race. You know, you have to get out of this normality. And when you actually develop constantly stuff and you deal with people, yeah, who fill up their noses and you fill up your nose, and you make agreements, well, those agreements, they don't exist without the booger sugar. That's my experience. And not only booger sugar, you can also pop in some pills, but I wouldn't rely on it to build solid relationships, that people keep their words. But anyway, today, very messy live stream. I also don't know. I need to clean up my head a little bit by going to the calisthenics spot. I'm seeing people over there on that calisthenics spot over there, so I'm going to another one. I also need to pee. When it's so snowy, you cannot hide really in the bushes to do a little pee. Cannot wait for the spring, and not only because of the peeing. It looks maybe nice on the camera. Yesterday I did actually enjoy a little bit snow. Sometimes I have moments I do, but today I don't know. My fingers are cold. Well, we're going to the calisthenics steel, like I always say. The steel and the concrete, the rubber. Just like life, nobody cares. In the end, nobody cares. When you go 6 feet under, a few people will cry for a couple of days, or maybe for an hour, and then it's over. Then your turn is over. It's done deal. It's over. Done deal. Of course, some people believe in heaven and hell. Well, I do believe that heaven is here now. The moment that you can breathe, can walk, drink a coffee, that's heaven. The moment that you're in pain on a hospital bed, that's hell. Operations, maybe some bad diseases, that's hell. Anyway, we're not gonna end with bad diseases and everything. I also, today is an incredibly, I'm gonna label this live stream as a very shitty one. But you know what? Part of life. And whoever watches it and says, what an idiot. Okay. You're totally right. I'm not saying that anybody's wrong. Oh, wait a minute, oh, they closed the bridge. Oh yeah, for slippery reasons. So I have to pass by the other calisthenics spot. Oh, the pigeons. And somebody made a little bit a feeding thing for the pigeons. We're not gonna go over there to leave them alone. Maybe they're on a date. I think they're a couple. Hello. So, not gonna bother them. Anyway, ciao for now. First clean my head and let's see. Because now I'm